JT, what kind of opportunity is this bringing the #1 team in the country? What's in front of you? What could it mean for you?
Yeah, it's huge. I think that last time we played them, they were #1 as well, and it was a very similar opportunity. It's a big opportunity. It's going to be on national television, and an opportunity for us to represent Creighton and the brand that has been built here, the players that have played here, and obviously, like any game in the Big East, it's a big game, whether it's for seeding or whether it's for just trying to go out and compete in the Big East and win as many games as possible. So we're super excited for it, and we can't wait to have this crowd and to be playing here at CHI.
Easier for a number of reasons, but this has to be near the top of the list to play in these big games and big environments against the top teams in the country, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. When talking with Coach McDermott and all the other coaches, a lot of the conversation was about just the opportunity that I'd have to play against the best. And as you come to leagues like this, just about every player has aspirations to play professionally after. And so if you want to do that, you're going to have to prove yourselves against the best. And so opportunities like this are what all of us players grew up dreaming about. And so super excited for tomorrow for sure.
You talked about that brand. What do you know about Creighton in terms of a brand before entering the portal, and what have you since learned about the brand that's been built here?
Yeah, I think that watching it before I ever came into the family, I'd call it, was that I knew that it was a place where the culture was high and that there had been great players in the past. Obviously, I think every college player nowadays knew Doug McBuckets and what the legend he was, and so to be able to come and see what it's like firsthand has been nothing short of amazing. And it's a true family, from players to coaches to community, and so it's something super special.
Do you think a win over the #1 team in the country takes the brand up a notch? Wins like that, anyways.
I think any wins in the Big East take the brand up a notch. Everybody's great, and playing against the #1 teams in the country, top 10 teams in the country, every single night's a battle in the Big East, and that's what we're looking forward to.
What is this team different than the last time you played in the Fountain?
I think that when we were coming back last time we were playing them, I want to say Klingon was just fresh off of his recovery from his injury, and so he's obviously had quite a few more games under his belt after that. And so I think watching the film back, we'll be able to get a greater sense even today of what the task at hand is, and then we'll go from there.
What do you guys have to do better this time that didn't happen at UConn?
It's a tough question. I think that they do a lot of different things very, very well, and we're going to have to play some of our best basketball, and today hopefully that we get a great opportunity to prepare for that.
Did something click defensively against Butler that you're hoping to carry through, some kind of consistency to this game that could help that outcome?
I think just overall our consistency on defense has really picked up a notch with our communication level as a group, just making sure that we're on the same page, and a lot of helping the helper, multiple efforts on defense I think goes a long way, and I think that down the stretch of that Butler game we were able to see the fruits of that. And in college basketball it can be hard because you can be playing great defense for 35, 36 minutes of the game, and then you don't really see the fruits of it until kind of the final four. And so you just got to keep trusting the process, and I think this team's done a really good job of that.
So your transition offense the last 3 games has been probably the best it's been all season in terms of production, efficiency, all that. What's unlocked that?
I mean, guys are running. I think that it's a natural tendency that when you see the ball go in transition, you're going to run just a little bit harder, and I think that we've had a few games where we've been really effective and efficient in that. And, it starts with getting the rebound, securing the rebound. And I think that obviously you got very high caliber rebounding guys, especially like Baylor, and then just the opportunity for him to then rebound it and run, not to have to look for an outlet, I think gives us a really good opportunity to be effective in transition. So I think that's probably led to the success the past few games.
You've been grabbing a lot of defensive rebounds too lately. Did you identify something on film in terms of these teams you can attack and ways you can kind of get to that logo spot and just grab one and run?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Coach Mack's done a really good job of motivating each of us individually and as a team to step it up in multiple areas, honestly, because throughout the season you're always going to have areas where you can grow. And so for me, I have a lot of times where my guy is the guy that's getting back to try to slow transition. So once I recognize that, I feel like I've done a better job of finding ways that I can get into the rebounding fight and get in that effort and help Baylor and Kalk and some of those other guys out with the rebounding load.
One of the reasons you came to Creighton to see how you stack up in the Big East and at this level?
Absolutely. I mean, I know how talented of a player I am. I think I know my game better than anybody else, and so for me it's partly going out and trying to prove not only to myself again, but to everybody else that I can play at the highest level, and I've got the game for it, and skill for it, confidence for it, and so it's definitely not been easy. It's a challenge every single day, every single game, even in practice. You know, you're going up against some of the highest caliber players in the country, and so it's definitely a reason why I came here, and super grateful for it, honestly. Just thankful to God for the opportunity to play in the Big East, to play for Creighton, and play in Omaha.
You guys keep flirting with that top 16 in the net rankings. Is that motivation, and is that talked about?
Not really, honestly. It's maybe it's motivation that obviously we want to be the best team we can be, but really we're worried about the next game, the next opportunity, and the next thing at hand. And the coaching staff done a really good job of just preparing us day in and day out for what's to come. And this team's done a really good job of staying focused on the process. And so I think the results will come after the process is put first, and we've seen that so far.
You mentioned that you check on bracketology a little more than everybody else coming over from Utah State. The first bracket when you came in, you guys weren't among those top 16 seeds. Do you feel this team is worthy of being a top 4 seed in the tournament?
Yeah, I do. I think that our resume has been one of the best, especially out of conference, and then you're playing in arguably the best conference in the country with the top team in the country, and so every single night you're going against top teams, and so there's work for us to do, no doubt, and I think that we've got opportunities and chances to not only prove to ourselves but prove to others the type of team we can be, and hopefully we can continue to build off of what the momentum that we've created so far this season.
Talks about UConn, or would you compare them to, how do they compare to last year's UConn, especially at the 5 spot?
I think at the same point in the season, they're better. If you go back to last year's team, I think they were 8-6 in the league, and I think the Big East is better top to bottom than it was a year ago. So to win, 14 in a row or whatever it's been now in this conference, with a target on their back, just they don't have a lot of missing pieces. They've Clingan and Sampson at the 5, so they kind of give you a couple different looks, and they rotate those guards. You bring a guy like Diarra off the bench, who's really, really talented, would start for a lot of teams, and they just don't get shook, and it appears to be a different guy every night on the offensive end, and then of course they're elite defensively.
Coach, you have to obviously big game, but do you have to tell your guys not to make it more bigger than it is? Being the number 1 team in the country, it's going to be. I mean, you got pom-poms out.
Yeah, I mean it's a big game. Let's face it. I mean it's a important game as we continue to try to build our resume. You only get so many shots during your lifetime. A lot of people never get an opportunity to play against the number 1 team, and as an institution, we've never been able to beat the number 1 team. So to have the opportunity, I think our guys embrace that. We didn't play very well at UConn, and certainly they had a lot to do with that. And I think our guys are eager to, try to see if we can play a little bit better and put ourselves in a position late in the game to have a chance. But this is a real talented team, but I've got a mature group. Their approach has been pretty consistent all year, and I would expect that tomorrow will be the same.
What was the biggest negative at UConn that you want to see flip tomorrow night?
I'd like to be able to make a pass. We were. It seemed like we were running for our lives, and looking back on it, we got some decent shots at times that we didn't make. I mean, you can't have live ball turnovers against UConn. Some teams that they may or may not score, UConn's going to score. They're that electric when they turn you over and attack and transition. And then they've just been an absolute beast on the offensive glass. And we've got some matchups that aren't great, so we're going to have to fight tooth and nail and hope it bounces to us once in a while because they've really dominated almost everybody on the glass.
What's the tougher of the challenges once you've had playing for limited minutes in the first matchup, getting it fully healthy this time around? How much tougher is that?
Yeah, I mean he's one of the most talented guys at the rim in the country, defensively especially, and his offense, it seems like his timing has come back, and they're using him more than they did the first time we played him. But he's certainly had an impact on that game, and like I said, the combination of he and Sampson, it's 2 very different looks, but you have rim protection with both guys, and but they're if you can break down their first layer of defense, you got to deal with him.
How rowdy do you want this building tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I hope we have a bunch of students, and they have a they let the guard down and have a lot of fun. We have to make this as difficult of a place to play as there is in the conference. And UConn, they call out a lot of their set plays, and it'd be nice if the guys on the floor couldn't hear him when he was trying to call them out because it was too loud in this place. So, we'll certainly get energy from our crowd, and but baskets are going to be hard to come by because they're hard to score on, and I'm hopeful that our defense is going to be the same.
I guess what's the execution plan against their ball screen coverages versus Donovan versus Sampson?
Yeah, it's different. They're more aggressive with Sampson, more drop coverage with Klingon. So you just have to understand who's in the game and what's going to be available. I think our guys have seen enough of both coverages that they understand what they need to do.
How hard is their pace to guard in the quarter? When they are running through those sets, they seem to run at.
Their movement is elite, and as crazy as it sounds, when Klingon was out and they had to go small. I felt like their screening activity and some things they did off the ball actually got better. So now you add the big back into it, and they still have those reads on switches and when you're switching, when you're not switching, and when you go under a screen, when you chase a screen, and they don't make many mistakes. Like if you make a mistake, they're gonna make the read and they're gonna make you pay for it. They do an unbelievable job of that, and like I said earlier, they're an unselfish team. They don't really seem to care who gets the credit, and when a team is as talented as they are, that's a scary good attribute to have when nobody cares,
Mike, the highest ranked win in program history was the 3 over number 3 Villanova. What do you remember for that day, and did it energize the program?
Oh, geez, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. So we played a lot of ranked teams during our time, and I can't remember if that was the one in Philadelphia or if it was the one here that when they won the national championship and we were their last win. So, those are great wins, and in a league like the Big East, you're just going to have some opportunities to play those kind of games because there's so many good teams, and this is another example of that.
Coach, I got to ask about Baylor shot. He's playing at such an elite level, and he's got this streak of double doubles going in. Obviously, he was multi-talented. Was he playing better than you thought?
Yeah, I think the one thing when he transferred from South Dakota State, I felt like his scoring and his playmaking and his ability to make decisions would transfer to this level. The thing I wondered about was the rebounding, and he's, not only is he, as it transferred, he's become a better rebounder, and a lot of credit goes to his work with Jeremy Anderson in the offseason to get a little bit more athletic, a little stronger, a little quicker off his feet. And he's a killer when he gets in there. Like, he's got to go get that basketball, and he's going to be really important for us tomorrow night because from the guard position, a lot of times your bigs are in fights. Caravan's elite at going to the glass. Both their bigs, Sampson and Klingon, are elite at going to the glass. So you got to get tied up in a blockout. Somebody's got to go get the ball, and Baylor's got to figure out a way to get Castle off first, and then go get it. But he's been terrific. It's he's a big reason we are where we are.
I know the focus is UConn, but you guys were just outside the top 16 of the committee's announcement. Does it really matter to you to get a top 4 seed, or is it kind of whatever?
I don't know that it really matters. I think anytime you wear a white jersey the first round of the NCAA tournament and you're not in Dayton, it means you've had a hell of a year because it's hard to do. It's really hard to be the home team in the NCAA tournament in that first round. So if you've done that, then you've had an incredible year, and we've positioned ourselves. We're in position to be in position to have a really good end of this year. But also the schedule's really daunting. So we have plenty of opportunities that are going to prepare us, but we're not paying much attention to that. At the end of the day, it's more about matchups than it is where you're seated. And unfortunately, we don't get to pick those matchups.
What's been the catalyst for how good you guys have been in transition offensively the last 2 or 3 games? Seems like been your best performances of the year.
Defensive stop, defensive rebound. That's where it starts. Without that, there is no transition. So, but I think when you've had some success at that, I think it's like that carrot that the rabbit's chasing. It's the guys know that good things will await on the other end if they run, and sometimes it's going to be for them, and sometimes running creates a play for somebody else. And to do it on the road at Xavier at Butler, where especially Xavier, a team that's elite in transition offense, to kind of flip the script on them and their building. I think it speaks to how well conditioned these guys are for as much as they're playing and still be able to be on the attack all the time.
Two more.
Just to follow up with that, it seems like what's helped unlock it, I guess, from an eye test standpoint, is how well guys are running, even the ones that don't touch the ball, I guess, the ones that don't end up getting a shot up. Like, is that, have you seen that?
That's the most important part of transition offense. It's not necessarily the guy with the ball or the guy that ends up with the ball. The play happens because of what somebody else does, and oftentimes that doesn't show up in the stat sheet because that guy's probably not getting an assist. He might set a screen. He might create spacing. Kalk may take a guy to the basket, and the guy gets a wide open three because Ryan ran the floor and somebody had to account for him. So, that's we show it on film all the time, the importance of it, and we certainly reward it with enthusiasm as a staff when we know that someone created something for other people. But like I said about UConn's team, our guys don't care who gets the credit either, and that's why this team's been so enjoyable to coach.
Is there anything specific that you've noticed in terms of improvement from your team since the last time you played UConn that you feel more comfortable going into this matchup?
I don't know that you ever feel warm and fuzzy going into a matchup with UConn because it's going to be a fist fight. But we've won some on the road in difficult places. We played some really good teams. Have we played a team as good as UConn? No, but I think they're the best team in the country. So it'll be a treat for our fans to watch a team that's as talented as they are, and we're going to need our A game. There's no question there, and we have to do whatever we can to make sure they don't have theirs.